On to this now. Award-winning actor Jamie Bartlett has been remembered as a dynamic performer who poured his heart and soul into his work. The 55-year-old died this week, apparently after suffering cardiac arrest whilst alone at home. The star is popularly known for his roles as supervillain David Genaro in hit soapie Rhythm City, as well as Mike O'Reilly in Isidingo. Colleagues have joined a chorus of tributes from fans who've continued to celebrate Bartlett's life. For more on those reflections, let's speak to one of his friends, Somizi Mhlongo, who was actually with him on the eve of his death at an event in Pretoria. And Somizi, thank you so much for making time to speak to us. Really do appreciate it. My condolences to you as a friend, but also as a fellow colleague in the industry who, without a doubt, has been dealt quite a blow. How are you making sense of what's taken place, given the fact that you were with him before he died?
It is so weird that when I first heard about it, thanks for having me, by the way, sir. It's so weird that when I heard about it the following day, I was extremely shocked. I thought it was a hoax, and it was a bad joke. But then 2 days later, I started thinking of the series of events that happened on that night. And I couldn't help but smile. And I smiled because I was like, his spirit knew that this was his last night. I've never in my entire life of being in the show business seen someone who was that enthusiastic of meeting each and every person in the venue. The venue takes about 150 people, and he went to each and every table, took a picture, kissed them, and every time he said goodbye. And then the last time I was looking for him, because he was never seated in one place, we were supposed to sit together, I went to the kitchen and I found him doing the same thing with the kitchen staff. So I have a pop-up restaurant in Pretoria. So I hosted him for that day. And he was very excited also about the future as well, saying that he now enjoys making these appearances because he's never done this, something like that before. So for me, I started smiling because I said, what a way to exit, to say goodbye, but also what a way to depart in your sleep. I found comfort in that. I don't know, maybe it's because I see it in a very spiritual way.
Yeah. Interesting you say that because, it's often said in isiZulu that umuntu uyayibona indlela yakhe when that time is coming close. Given what we now know has taken place, do you remember the last conversation you may have had with him?
Yes. We were supposed to meet on the 4th, next week Saturday. We had planned to host Mama Connie Suma's 70th birthday. And she was excited that we're going to co-host it together. We're going to do it together. And that was the last conversation we had. And when I said goodbye to him, I left him there. He said, don't forget our dress code.
Sure. Wow. And Jamie, much like you, is not one for keeping within the lines, as it were. He colors all over the place. And in fact, we're showing a picture now of both of you. I really think displaying your personalities in the clothes that you wear. What was the nature of your friendship with him? I for one, can't imagine a situation where both of you are in the same room, because my goodness, your personalities certainly, they take up a lot of space.
It is a bubble of energies. Imagine it's literally like shaking a champagne bottle when we are together. And me and Jamie, we never would not see each other for 6 months. But when we see each other, it makes up for everything else that we missed out on. But the energy, my goodness, I was like, he made me feel better about myself. And I'm assuming I made him feel better about himself, because he would look like a crazy white man and I would look like a crazy black homosexual. And we balanced each other, but we also saw, I saw myself in him and he saw himself in me. So it was a nice balance, but he was a bubble of positivity. And I'm a magnet to that, but I also am drawn to such people. So that was for me the best thing. I knew every time I would part ways with him, I would part ways in high spirits.
That's good to hear. And, you know, what's really difficult to also take stock of at this moment is just how much loss we've all suffered in the past 24 months. I mean, it really has been quite a difficult time. Do you reckon we are taking enough of a moment to acknowledge that, to deal with it honestly, especially because the nature of the work that you do requires you to constantly be in the move. Even as we speak now, it looks like you're on your way from or to someplace.
Absolutely. Ish, unfortunately, we gotta do what we gotta do, but also I think the beauty about everything that we go through, what we do, especially our work, it's passion driven. I mean, I've just landed from Eastern Cape and I've got four more venues to go to, and I'm excited. It's the passion, and that is the one thing that carries us. And I'm glad that we have that beyond the money and the fame and everything else. The passion is still there. So and that also helps us to cope and to understand when it's your time, it's your time. It's just that with us, because we are public figures, it's known immediately that something like this is happening, but it happens every day. It's part of life. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
So I'm content with that. I'm okay with that.
Sure. It's a very mature response to what is really tragic. Help us understand how you think Jamie Bartlett's legacy will live on. There's no doubt that it will, but in your mind, what form will it take?
Somebody asked me, I think I did an interview day after, and I remember my answer to that, and it's still going to be the same answer, is that we owe him an apology. And I hate it when someone has departed and now all of a sudden it becomes this huge hero. We never gave him his flowers. We never gave him his flowers the way he deserved to get his flowers. He was one of the best cream of and crop of actors in this country, but I don't think he got the flowers that he deserved. And first thing before we make his legacy live on forever, we owe him an apology and say, Jamie, we are sorry and we hope we can do better with the ones that are still here. Let's give people flowers unapologetically because we live on borrowed time. But in terms of his legacy, we've got everything in the archives, in the stores, and the store where it's being stored, where we can look back and see what passion can do, what love, what you do can take you, where it can take you. And that, I'll be so happy that Jamie's passing did not go in vain.
Absolutely. Somizi Mhlongo, thanks very much indeed for helping us pay tribute to a man who I think has contributed greatly to the industry as a whole, and I think in some instances to some people's lives, given just how well he did his job. Somizi